Hey everyone, here we have a Between Two review. So I'm here with the wonderful Egnards to review
Oh,
his account. So I have reviewed his account a very long time ago, when I first started doing this, and I think we talked about that the last time we did this, right? Where we talked about the last time we were I think it was more live that we when I played your account, where we like you let me review your account when I first went on Reddit and posted it. But a lot has changed since then. So, and I got to play your
yeah.
account, so I think I'll have a better understanding of what I think what I would like to say about it. And then I've never
It's,
gotten a review from you, so this would be
it's not
interesting.
fair.
Yeah.
I've never played your account, so you're at an advantage here. But what I am interested in, and I kind of said this to you right before we started this, is that because you did my account kind of as a entertainment value thing
Yep.
right when you started, and before you really found your footing, and now almost a year later, 7 months, 8 months later, you found your footing. You do all different types of reviews, GAC reviews, you're doing like modding things, you're doing like full account reviews. What you'll say um 8 months later when you have all of that experience under your belt. So I am super curious about that.
Yeah, because yeah, but like the spectrum of what I reviewed in the beginning, like yours was probably like one of, if not the biggest, one of the bigger accounts I reviewed at that time. Where now I have a lot more experience just looking at like bigger accounts, and just like
Yep.
my knowledge has been expanded since then. But all right, yeah. So you have the wheel right now because we're viewing your stuff. So if you want to jump into to it, I know. Do you want me to give you a little background? Because I know generally you have like a super long essay, but I could probably kind
I
of
do.
summarize.
I do usually have an essay, but
Mm-hmm.
since the reason for the essay and the reason that I ask people to give me all of these questions and answers is actually twofold.
Yeah.
It's one to make sure that they're serious about it,
Uh huh.
and I don't mean serious in the terms it's a game. You don't have to play it seriously, but if I'm going to put in that much effort, I don't want you to quit the game in 3 weeks and I've wasted all of that time and effort. But two, because they're not generally live with me, I can't ask them questions.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I have to rely on that. So I don't think I need to ask you any questions unless there's something glaring in here
So
that
I generally I've read enough of your like because sometimes people will post in my stuff and I'm like that's a long. I was like that's more than the 3 words they usually give me, which is like review me, bro. So I was like, so I will say this. I'm farming Quadme right now, like the Poncho
okay.
Bros. Just finishing the stars on Master Qui-Gon. I'm side farming Leia, so I have all the
Okay.
gear I need for Leia. I don't have I have all the gear 12 pieces. I have the left side pieces. I don't have the Kyra tech, so I just I don't probably like 400 500 Kyra tech shy, which I'll finish as I'm because it's just a side farm. So Leia is my next big farm after I finish the Qui-Gon farm. I'm planning to do,
Lover boys.
yeah, the Relic 7 for Quadmate, and then Relic 9 for the. I don't know, but Loverboy has some connotations there, which is a little weird. And I love Celiac Sarah, but I feel more comfortable saying Poncho Bros because they're more
Okay.
bros than lovers.
It's true. It's
Yeah,
not Brokeback Mountain
yeah,
out on the hills of Naboo.
yeah.
You have
So
two Jedi cowboy.
but that's where I'm at. And then the only thing I don't have assault battles, of course, is I don't have CT3 for the Night Sisters. I have CT2
Okay.
for the Phoenix. They can do it with like a 1 star or something. And then I don't have the of course the Poncho Bros, but I will get them to R9 and I'll
Dual
finish
face.
that. Yeah. So and then
I don't even put that in mine yet. I should. I don't even look at it with my route. So that's the only assault battle that you don't really have finished yet.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So that's like the biggest thing when I look at reviews, right? Because most of the time, people that come to me are in that like 3 to 8 million, somewhere in that route, and assault battles are usually the one thing that they haven't figured out yet. So that's good to know there. I've never looked at your account. I've watched you play GAC. I kind of have an idea of it being PvP based, and obviously you're in a guild, so you do have to do some things for PvE, but this is going to be the first time that I'm actually looking and seeing what's behind the curtains, like we're in Oz right now.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm just going to treat it like I do a normal review, right? So we've got
Yeah.
9.5 million, which is on the higher end of what I typically see. K2 makes sense. You 3414 right now. I'm just pulling up my game because I think there's a good chance that we might face each other in the very near future.
You think so?
I it's a possibility. I'm at 3421.
Oh, okay.
So
So we're in
if
the same neighborhood.
we're in the same neighborhood, so it
Mhm.
might happen, and we might have to do something fun for that. If it does happen, I'll have to change up my defense so you're not preparing for a turtle D, and so that I can actually
I
compete
could
against you.
believe it or not, if we weren't playing at all, I think it
Hmm.
would be really close. Like if you didn't know me, I didn't know you. We didn't. If I like we went against each other, I think I could take on your turtle and full clear
Man,
you. But I think you could take on and you bring your offensive ships, so it would be like. I think you would probably win through efficiency, but you would full clear me, and I would think I would full clear you. I think.
I mean, it depends on what you say, because you take GAC a little bit more seriously than I do, and you do change your defense up a little bit.
I
I
would.
do sometimes have trouble. It depends on the
Mhm.
datacrons at the time.
I would put one really strong, maybe like Jabba with the good support cron. I don't know
Yeah.
if you would be able to beat that with what you have.
Yeah, I don't know if Night Sisters with the new crons are they're able to take. I haven't seen it yet
Yeah, because
because
it's
I didn't do so well in threes, and not everybody has it. Um, but my Night Sisters have been doing and taking out Jabba. I've never worried about him in the past. That remains to be seen with what is out right now. But it might happen. You know,
mhm.
next round, next week, we might find ourselves back here again, going against each other, and we'll have to figure out some rules and have some fun,
Yeah.
and maybe do like a back and forth battle on both of our streams. I've been waiting to be able to do something like that. All right. So you're obviously you're climbing in fleets. I know that your fleet Discord is a little bit lighter, and there's really nothing that's around you. Is there a reason that you don't use the Mark 6 in the opening lineup?
Yeah, so I have a higher Sith fighter relic than some people. If because I don't need it if I have the higher relic Sith fighter, just at relic
Yeah,
6. So sometimes I think at that time when I was rank 5 when it like saved it, I was I just like killed a relic 5 Sith fighter so I don't have to put in the Mark 6 because if you use the
got it.
Mark 6, sometimes just gets annoying killing that bomber if you don't land healing immunity. And instead of dealing with that, because I know you put it on auto, but I play it manually,
Yes.
and instead of like having to deal with like that RNG, there's just no RNG. Like I just win. So
Okay.
usually, believe it or not, I have the tie dagger because I the guy I beat for first every day is just a profundity, and the tie dagger like
Oh, so it's easy. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So I usually sit there with the tie dagger, and then if I have to beat a Leviathan, then I put in the fighter as I climb, and then I'll end with the tie dagger on defense, and I still don't get attacked, so usually I'll be like top 5 or top 10 at least.
My fleet Discord is interesting because some days it will be I'll drop to 20, and some days I'll be at second place
Yeah.
until my fleet climb, and I'll be great. I just have to run one on auto. I don't care if I win. I'm just interested in that because I know that that seems to be the thing that people are doing now, and it's what I'm doing, and it's what I'm promoting. Um, because it's great. It just is a huge quality of life change. So let's take a look at our collection here. How many GL do we have now? Is that five?
Yep.
Two, three, four, five. You have the important ones.
Hmm.
And I think you said to me previously, Ray and Kylo Ren, you bought those bundles,
No,
correct?
I bought the Ray bundles.
No.
I had
You bought the Ray
SLKR.
bundle.
Yeah, SLKR was my first GL, so I
Okay.
farmed him.
From the old like
Yep.
raid days.
Hmm.
Okay. Jedi Master Kenobi, you went all in on that third sister. I have, I think, only the one Omicron. It's all I've found to be necessary.
I don't
Uh,
I don't recommend the 3. I did it because at the time JMK was like a menace for me, and I just wanted
Yeah,
to not worry about JMK. Like, and
make it easier.
hmm
Okay. All right.
but probably it too much. It's at most two, I would say.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, and they do what I kind of recommend to people is do the as little as you need to do.
yeah,
So my best example is like Wampa. I had my Wampa at R5, and then I lost them on Mothma battle, and not from a timeout, because that sometimes happens and it gets iffy with the Cara Dune and timing that. But they literally destroyed my Wampa.
really.
So I brought it to R6, and I haven't had a problem since
Mm.
being R6. So I always like do the least possible to get the highest result, and anything else is overkill.
Yeah, I
Uh,
would say like with the Quad May, I didn't do her lead Omicron.
yeah.
I did the other two. The one that increased the one that summons the guard, of course, is necessary.
Hmm.
And then
That's the big one.
the other one I did is the cooldown increases because when I tried going against Quad May once, like it was on the back wall, wasn't expecting it. I was like, okay, let me take bounty hunters. Like I should be able to
Hmm.
snipe her out. That cooldown increases caused me to never like I was never able to snipe her out.
Never be able to get
So
it.
yeah, so because I couldn't get grief going, I couldn't like cleanse anything, and I was just like stuck, and I couldn't get to the insta kill, so I just timed out.
That's interesting. I mean, I only have loyal bodyguard, and I did that this week.
Uh-huh.
I right now I use her on offense, so I don't know if I am Queen Amidala is something I need right now, but it is. I'm glad you said that. If I transition her to defense, it's something that maybe I will consider in the future. I already know your assault battle viability, and we'll kind of take a look at that in a second. But what I like to do is just look at like glaring
So
holes,
I'll say this
and
that Gear 12 Treya,
that was
this last
that was
round,
coming up.
yeah, this last round they beat Lucian, Mon Mothma Lucian on defense. I took in Gear 12 Treya, Gear 12 Nihilus, Darth Vader, Savage, Talon, and I won. I beat it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Do they spell Luthen with an SCH in Japan?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Because it's Luthen. If we're gonna review pronunciations,
Is it Lucian
um,
or Luthen?
it's most definitely Luthen.
Is it Luthen? I don't
Um,
know. I thought it was Lucian.
if you're gonna have me message other people to tell them their pronunciation
All
is
right.
wrong, I'm
Well,
gonna.
Kai Adimundi is like he it was said quite a lot too. So,
Okay,
but
I just want to help you. I want
all
to
right.
help you out there. But that was one of the first thing I was going to point out is your Treya. Basically, what you're doing is you're reviewing your own account here. Is you're going, wait a second, I didn't have this yet. I like that Treya even at R5. I might take it higher because at R5 it's not the most reliable thing. But when I see Third Sister on defense, it's pretty reliable
I
for
think
taking that out.
I think Treya will be my first team I take to relics once I have all the GLs, all the GL ships, which I have all the GL ships, and I have everything that gives me income, which is like Bo-Katan Mandalore, Zepho for Jedi Knight Cal Kestis. So once I have
Okay.
all those things, then Treya is going to be in the first because I do think there's times where you want her at relics. Like there's like
Yes.
I do want her on relics. I do, but there's a lot of things I just need to farm, and she's doing a great job. She is the queen of punching up. She's like
Yeah. Well, if she's doing it for, and again, this comes down to you relic things to the level that you need to relic them to, and because we play GAC differently, I need her at relics, and if you are utilizing her for different things and it's working for you,
well,
then
what do you use
stick with
her
that.
for relics? Like what do you use her for? You have defense?
Well, I generally no, I keep her for offense and I use her against Third Sister. And again, I might take her to like R7. Because
Well,
with sometimes with Datacrons, Third Sister can get iffy.
I'll say this: without the Riva, like before Revacrons, I was able to
Yes.
beat Third Sister with Gear 12 Treya.
Multiple Omicrons.
Yeah, yeah, multiple times too. Like it's not.
Because
Yeah,
I've had her get deleted.
there's times where there's times where you just lose, right? Like she just dies.
Yeah.
But that's why I have what do you call it, Talon for, but if she has Death Mark,
Mhm.
she just and she
That's
gets
usually where she
deleted.
dies.
Yeah,
I think looking at this here, my big one glaring mistake
Zori.
here is your Zori Bliss, and especially
I
as a PvP player, it just seems like this is a glaring omission for you,
so
because you already have the team.
I'll say this. It's like there's only so many
Okay,
things.
that's what I thought. Exactly.
There's only so many things I could farm, and don't get me
I'll
wrong.
say this. Long pause.
Yeah, like there's only so many things I could farm at a time, and that like I was farming resources, right? And I farmed my
Yeah,
first passion project thing, which was JMK. I just finished it, and then new stuff are coming out where I have to like farm those.
yeah.
So I have to like Quad May, I have to farm Jedi Knight Calstus, I have to farm Bo-Katan Mandalore because my guild isn't doing Zepho or
Either of
Mandalore, and
them.
I want access to those.
Yeah.
So there's and now I want Leia. So and I have to look at it like, would I rather have you know, more Kyrotech? Would I rather have, all the goodies from that? Would I rather have like, and there's all these things because I do have Radis on defense, with
Yeah.
the comeuppance, and it's like fully fleshed out. I just need a relic Zori to kind of like, just
I'm
put
not
that.
even talking about comeuppance. I'm
Yeah,
talking about that B
no,
tier resistance
yeah,
team
no, I
because
get you because it's on defense. It is. I use it on defense,
it
but
transforms that team. It's amazing. I held out on doing that for so long, and once I did it and popped that Omicron, I was like, wow, this is a useful team. And what I would say is Zepho and Mandalore are super important because they are going to help pull you out of the Kyrotech crunch that you're
mhm.
currently in. I have 1,500 of each Kyrotech at this point after doing Zepho and Mandalore for a few months. So we are at different points, but it does help give you a lot more in your monthly budget. So Cal Kestis and Seer and Bo-Katan Mandalore are definitely more important than Zori Bliss. And I'm not saying that Zori Bliss is stronger than Leia, but it is a very quick farm in relation to Leia. And I think not that you'll get more out of Zori Bliss, but I think that when we talk about the time, you are going to see a better return on Zori because you'll be able to get that up and running in 2 weeks versus Leia, which is going to take you a lot longer. And you'll only lose out on 2 weeks. It's not going to be crazy the amount of extra time it's going to take you. My Zori is only R2. So she doesn't even need to go to high relics. It's just the Omicron lets your Ray team, not your Ray team, but
Relic
your
two.
mine's only relic 2.
Why not just like
Um,
Relic 3 for Datacrons? Why not
She,
just put one more
I say
zip?
relic 2. I say relic 2, forgetting that you're going to be reviewing my account after
Yeah.
this. And I may have done that in the last couple
Okay.
of weeks. We'll find out. I don't
Yeah.
know. Um, but it's more because I'm in a signal data crunch.
Yeah, I
But
got
my
you.
point is that even at super low relics, the Omicron is what does all of the work, and the rest of the team you already have farmed. It's already there. It's already in place.
I'll think about it because I want to, and I think I talked to you about this when I set your defenses. I look for
Yeah,
like those B teams to put on
that's
defense,
this.
and
This is
I
this is why
do.
I'm so surprised.
Well, I do want it, and there's just so many things that I just had to farm first that
Yeah,
are, and I want it, and it's because I want her and Marin. I want her and Marin
yeah.
at Relic 3, and I may do it after. I think after I finish Leia, I'll fit those two in because
Oh,
I'm really flexible, and this is where. Because I am so close to Leia. I don't know if you can do like the gear comparison or whatever, but
yeah.
I'm
I was
like,
gonna do that next, but since we're
yeah,
talking about it, let's
because I
check.
am
Let's take a look.
yeah, because I'm like so ridiculously close to Leia, and I do want I do want Leia just because she's like right there. She'll be my sixth GL. I do think it's important, especially when we start looking at like the problems that I'm having in GAC. Isn't I need one more B team defense? It's like how am I going to beat
Yeah.
these elevated teams like Gungans and things that only things like JMK or Leia can beat, and having that
Well,
flexibility.
Gungan is actually not that hard a team to beat, to be completely honest. I think that, and I've talked about this before, is I think that what happens with players is they see like Arnold streams or they see early streams and they go, oh my God, this team is really good, or oh my God, this team is really bad. and they form their opinion of teams based on one, a time when people don't understand the team,
Yep.
and two, a time when a datacron is available.
Well, the the
And
the Jar Jar Cron's really strong right now, but
yes,
it's
but
going
that's my
away. It's
point.
going away. Yeah.
It's going away. It's still going to be a really good team that's
Hmm.
able to do a lot of different things, but it does not do as well on defense as people think it does. It only does because people don't understand the team yet,
Well, I
right? There
want.
are a lot of options for taking it out.
Yeah, and I want to. I'm putting Leia on defense. I'm pretty sure, like, because everything I'm farming right now, I'm putting on defense,
Yeah.
and that's because I after Leia, I was planning on farming Gungans, not because
Yeah.
I think they're good. I think 100% they could be skipped. I just don't want to
Hmm.
skip them, and then I'm looking for those teams on defense, so I'm just gonna put it on defense, and that's it. And then I'm gonna have the option of, like, honestly, for conquest, for galactic challenges, for just have them available, and that's why I'm farming them. And it's not for the raid.
They're
I don't need
so
the raid.
Pyrotech heavy.
Yeah, it is. They're like 1600 plus Jar Jar, but everything I need needs Kyrotex at this point. Jedi Knight Cal Kestis needs Kyrotech. Like, Bo-Katan Mandalore needs Kyrotech, and I probably would rather have Bo-Katan Mandalore than Jar Jar. But
Yes.
I think I will farm Jedi Knight Cal Kestis. I will farm Bo-Katan. I will farm, C Lord Vader. All these things, but I may not farm Jar Jar. And I think if I skip him now, like, he's gonna be my Tuskens, where I just, like, when will I ever get back to them? And if I don't farm it right now, when at least there's a reason to.
It's so interesting to me just because I'm the Gungan guy, right? I'm the
Yeah.
one that justice for Jar Jar and like getting him into the game, and there are other people that are involved, and I don't actually think that I had anything to do with it by all means, but I was very vocal on it, and I'm someone that tells people skip Gungans, don't worry about Gungans, don't farm them at all. I just don't think you get enough out of them if you didn't farm them in time for the raid. And if you're talking about the projects you have going on, by the time you have the Gungans, and I know you said you're not doing it for the raid. I don't even think the raid will be available anymore.
I think I'll have
And
him
I just
by the next time Jar Jar comes. I could have him ready.
you think that by the next time Jar Jar
Like
comes
three
around,
three
I'm
months
looking
from
at the
now?
spear track. I haven't looked at your Gungans yet, but
I have the
based on
shards.
where your light is, I mean,
I
I don't. It's not that I think that they're a mistake to go after. I just
Mhm.
think that you're still in a position in the game where there are things that are going to make more of a difference. And that kind of bleeds into raid stuff, right? We're looking at your raid history. You're doing about 2.2 million. You're in a guild that does 478 million. Shout out to Oakland Republic Raiders. I don't know who you guys are, but big win. You got Cap in there. You're lucky. Their raid group right now is they're
it's not
trying
very
for
good.
the
Yeah.
135, right? So you're
Hmm.
trying for about the 2.7. You're going to need about 2.7 million in order to make this work, in order to meet your average. And of course, you overachieve in GAC, you're underachieving in the raid right now.
Well,
I am a huge.
I can get like
Go ahead.
2.5. That 2.2 was because
So you're
I
just
yeah,
under.
yeah. So and I'm getting my, once I have Master Qui Gon up to
Yeah.
relics, then I will be able to hit it, and that should be in like 2 weeks or something.
So the other thing that comes in there, and I want to talk about something else with Naboo as well, but before we get to that, I am a very strong believer that CG always has a plan now, and I
Hmm.
don't think they always had a plan, but I think in the last 2 years they've really developed thematic plans to kind of build off of things. And I see Baylan Skoll and Ahsoka Tano as being a large part of the next raid that's coming up. And obviously,
Yeah, I think so.
we don't know what the supporting teams are. So maybe you'll be able to function only on the supporting teams and not
Hmm.
have to worry about them. If you're talking about doing Bo-Katan, you're talking about doing Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, you're talking about doing Leia, you're talking about doing Gungans. Um, where is your prep for what's coming next?
I don't have anything to shard farm anymore. Like, I have like
Okay.
literally six hard node farms left in the game,
Hmm.
including ships and everything like that. So I'm shard farming them, and then once they become farmable, and then I will farm them, like, once it makes sense. So I think once I see
Okay.
the what they're bringing, or once we get closer, and I may
You
skip
might.
I may skip Jedi Knight Cal Kestis. I may skip Bo-Katan Mandalore. I may skip Gungans and go for them. It just depends on where my shards are, and that's pretty much what I did with Gungans, where I was like, well, let's see where my shards are, where they land, how much time I have left for the raid, and I pretty much finished the shards on them, and I'm like, okay, I think I can fit them in, is where that falls, and that's what I'll probably do with Balin Skull and Ahsoka Tano.
How many Bo-Katans are in your guild right now? Do you know?
I don't know. I know we're at like 26 that are Zepho ready.
No, that's there's Bo-Katan doesn't go for Zeph already.
No, no, I know.
Everything.
I was saying for the
Oh,
Jedi
okay.
Knight
It's a
Calcestis, we're
split.
at
Got it.
26. I don't know
Let's
where we are
see.
for Bo-Katan.
Boca seven. Okay, there's
Hmm.
7 of you in the guild right now. I personally think, I mean, when you're talking about 26 versus 7, Zepho's more important.
Hmm.
But I personally think for people out there, Bo-Katan is more important than Zepho just
Yeah.
because it's easier. The battle is easier. It's much more obtainable for people if your guild is pushing into there. Let's check that actual number here. It's always a joy when I get to look at guild stuff because it's not always necessary. 35. It looks like not all of them are relicked yet. It is a tougher mission.
Hmm.
Hopefully you're unlocking this soon so that you start to see a little bit more Kyrotech. But what you're basically telling me is that you are willing to pivot. Like you understand that what you're farming, there
Hmm.
might be a pivot
Oh,
involved. You're not like a start a farm, stop a farm, whatever that saying is.
yeah. So as
Finish a
far as
farm.
no, I fin like I'm so far into Leia that I'm gonna do Leia,
I
but
do agree.
yeah, like but after that, like I could totally skip Gungans. I could skip Jedi Knight. I would like Jedi Knight Cal Kestis because I would like Knights because it comes with Night Sisters and it starts that Seer team.
Hmm.
And I think there's a lot
Which
of
I'm
flexibility
surprised
there.
by you too.
What's that?
I'm surprised that like this is a team that Seer Malikos team is something that seems like it'd be right up of your alley for this.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where we only have there's only so many hours in the
There's only so
day.
many
There's only
resources.
there's only so many Kyrotech, and if you think about it, my count's not that old. I'm
That's
come
true.
I'm coming up on like 3-ish years, so it's not. It takes time.
No, it's
It takes time.
for the time that you've been playing this game, with this account, it's obviously an account that's in a good place. And I don't think that there's, when I do an account review, I usually am like, oh man, this is a glaring thing. And
Mhm.
like, you need to stop what you're doing and do this now. I really think that the only super glaring omission for you right now is that Zori Bliss. It blows my mind that you haven't done that. We've already talked about that. That's
Well,
completely fine.
I'll say this about that though, like, because we're all about return of investment, right? But
I
like
am absolutely.
I'm
Yeah.
Zori does not give me a return of investment. Like I don't have like right now my ground defense is a wash, like a complete wash, and I'm now
Hmm.
starting to throw a defense down, and that's why I'm now thinking like, okay, I need to start building those teams because I had a ship's defense and then like absolute E tier defense, and I just like efficiently cleared them. And then if someone dropped one battle on me on fleets, then I could win, and that's it. Like
Anyone.
if they either can't beat my fleets or if they somehow dropped a battle because they were trying to like because I went pretty efficiently, and they're like, oh, let me solo this Iden team, and then they
Hmm.
dropped a battle and I win, or they're like, let me do something, and they drop on my gun or my GG or some dumb team,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's how I win is just like through their mistakes, and that's it, and
So
I
we
just
play
play.
opposite.
Yeah, because I
Yeah,
play
I play no
super.
fleet,
Yeah,
and
and
you play high
mine's
fleet.
yeah, and mine's super clean. Like I just don't drop a battle, and I just beat them purely on efficiency, and that's what I go for. Because if you look at my GAC history or whatever, for the most part, like I full clear, like I don't know, 90% of the time, 95 or
Yeah.
something. Like I'm just like it is a full clear. And I'm just, and even when I lose, like these are some massive accounts that I'm playing against, and they're just like usually really close. So that's just what I aim for.
Yeah.
So
I'm just looking through here. I'm like, is there anybody that I am familiar with, which would be funny to
probably
me.
probably not.
Uh, no, I don't. I don't see anything in here. Have you ever had anyone in game yet, like message you and be like, "Oh my God, you're Captain Amazing"? Like
One person,
one
actually,
person.
the last guy I played, who like yesterday has like massive account, just way
Hmm.
ridiculous account. He messaged me and he was like, "Captain Amazing," more like Captain Mediocre. So, but I had one, other than that one guy, which is usually they
Well,
don't message me. I did have one other person who was like, "Hey, I watch your stuff, you know, really fun match or whatever," and that was it. So one person messaged
okay.
me and was
Yeah, I
like,
don't have it
"Hey."
happen often.
Mhm.
It's not like either of us is at like the Arnold level or anything. I'm just curious if it's
I,
happened to you.
Outside, like one time I messaged a guy because he was in my Discord, and then I found his
Hmm.
guild. I joined his guild and then messaged his leader, and I was like, "Hey," because he attacked me like 10 minutes before my payout. So I found him. I
Hmm.
was like, "Hey, dude, like you're joining this Discord and you're not doing this again." So I found him, messaged his guild leader. I was like, "Hey, I'm just trying to get a hold of this guy. He's in my fleet shard. I'm trying to get him into the Discord." And then he like linked us up, and then after he linked us
Okay.
up, he messaged me and he was like, "Are you the Captain Amazing?" Like I was like, "Yeah, that's me." And
Did
that
I
was,
snipe a payout?
yeah. No, the guy was like really embarrassed. He just didn't understand anything about like fleet
Yeah.
payouts or anything like that. So
I've noticed that before, that some people are like that, which is why I prefer to educate over to yell at people, and I usually it's ignorance over maliciousness. Um, what I will say here for you, I love my Night Sisters. You know that my Night
uh-huh.
Sisters are are my favorite non-GL team, Gungans aside. If you're doing CT2 of Secrets and Shadows, they're really not a priority team. If we're talking
Not at
about
all.
ROI, especially for you, getting to CT3 of Secrets and Shadows, it's if you get Merrin because you have Jedi now Kestis, then yeah, you'll be able to do it.
Mhm.
Um, but I wouldn't build just specifically
So
for that, if
I
that makes sense at your level.
I want to finish my assault battle guides. So I would like to finish
You can
the,
appeal to that one.
yeah, because that like that's I only have two left that I haven't done. So
Okay.
I have to do the Night Sister ones because I think there's people that message me and they're like, "Thank you
Hmm.
so much. I wasn't able to do military might," and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Or like
That's the easiest one.
or the Riva one. I'm like, this is dumb. Someone messaged me asking for this, so I made the Riva one, and then people are like, "Oh, thank you so much. I was having problems with this." So, you know, now I'm like, okay, so people struggle on things that I just don't think they'll struggle on, and I think this Night Sister one, if I can like get Marin, I want to try it at Gear 12. My relics on them are pretty approachable. Relic 3, Relic 5
Yes.
on Daka, and if I could do it at Gear 12 Marin and figure that out and push a guide for it, I think that'll be really good. I think that'll help people. So
Even I would be really interested in seeing you. I know it would take a lot of time
yeah, that
doing
would.
that and trying to do it with as few Zetas
I don't have a
as
ton
you
of Zetas.
possibly can.
Yeah,
Just to like help people kind of learn that. So if that's your reason, we all
hmm,
have our different reasonings, but in terms of ROI, I wouldn't prioritize
yeah,
Marin
yeah.
until
No,
you're doing Jedi Knight Cal Kestis.
I've
Um,
also committed to R8 Marin for my guild for the Zepho platoons. I think.
okay, so that's
So yeah.
different. That's a
Hmm.
completely different
So
thing.
I'm gonna do that after I make the guide because I'm not gonna be like, "Hey guys, here's my
Yeah,
guide,
here's my
R8
R8.
Marin," and then walk through. You know. So
That's why I don't make a guide for
yeah,
him. Like, all right, guys, here are my R8 and R9 Night Sisters. Let's go for it.
yeah.
Uh, all right, let's see what we got here. What we're doing with Battle for Naboo. What teams are you using? How are you sectioning your teams for the most points?
So I
Do you
have,
understand
yeah,
the
yeah.
question?
No, I
That
get
makes
it.
sense.
Yeah. So I have the what do you call it? The Lightspeed bundle team. So the only
Yes.
thing I
Okay.
do is I do put in Grandmaster Yoda in there. I took out
Okay.
the, you know,
ETH.
yeah, because he's a loser. And then I on my other I do R, if I would have a Zeta on B2, I probably could have
Mhm.
done the B1 trick to do
Hmm.
like to get 1.2 million, but I don't have the Zeta on B2, so I do 900,000, and that's super
Okay.
easy. Like I just change mods on B1 and Darth Maul, and then I easily
Hmm.
get 900,000. Just take them usually to like 700 stacks, and then just rain Hell Fury down for that
Yeah.
glitch. And
Yeah. Yeah.
other than that, I use the Quadme with Padawan Obi-Wan, Kiadi Mundi,
Hmm.
Shock T, I think R2 at the
Okay.
R3 level. And
Okay.
then other than that, it's like a complete wash. Like that's the only
All right.
teams that are functional. And then once
So
I
what I
get
would say here is
hmm
with that team, when, because I know you told me before previously that you are planning on doing the Poncho Bros
yeah,
to R9, and you're planning
yep,
to do that as more of a short term thing. Um, Kind of transitioning that team to just the Quad May, Padawan Obi-Wan, Master Qui-Gon. I throw R2 in there because it kind of
yep, yep.
loosens up the RNG a little. But then I would transition Kiadi to the Luminara team instead, as because you don't need a fifth there. It's not mandatory. And it kind of makes, and I know that I'm like beating a dead horse here, but it kind of makes that Luminara team almost like an autoable team. And it's not what I do, but that's also because I have like Keller and Beck, and I have to think about a fifth team.
hmm
Um, but for you, transitioning him over to that team once Master Qui-Gon is up and running, I think will in decrease the time you're spending on the raid, which may or may not be a
It's
lot
it's
right now anyway.
I usually beat it one go.
One
Cause
go.
yeah, cause I
But
have
you'll be able to do it with less effort, I think,
yeah, cause
doing that.
I just changed the mods. So I do
Hmm.
remod, and then I just throw like God mods on them, and the RNG like 1 or 2 runs is usually all I need to get it
Okay,
done.
that's not that bad. A lot of
Yeah.
people are saying they're doing tons of runs, and I'm like, guys,
No,
I'm not
no.
asking you to do that. That's insane. Um, but I mean, you're kind of good for where your guild. You're just slightly underperforming, and your upcoming project here is going to solve that issue,
Yeah.
right? So you don't
hmm
have to really worry about that. Um, my again, if we're looking at your account, you're an account that I look at and I go, I don't know what to tell you. You have all of the good important things that you need. I think that if I had your account and if you gave it to me tomorrow and said, okay, man, like, can you take care of my account for the next 6 months and do whatever you want? I would probably do, the Lover Boys as or Poncho Bros or whatever we
Yep.
want to call them,
Yep.
as my short-term
hmm
project. I would do Zori right after that. I would do Leia, and then I would do Bo-Katan, and I would completely ignore Gungans. And while I was doing all of that, I would be doing my shard farming for the new stuff and making the choice for the new stuff, whether or not I'm gonna do the new stuff. Um, as that information is coming out.
hmm
So that's where I would go with this. I do see Treya as maybe a smaller, glaring omission, but if it's working for you and the defense you're setting right now, fine. I just think I love her at R5, and it's a great team that does so much for an account.
I do want her up. I would say I would prioritize Bo-Katan more if her requirements were at 6 stars. So I'm like shard farming them right now, and that's why I
Yes.
have her where I have her. And then once I have her, because like I said, I only have 6 hard nodes, and then
Yeah.
those are the hard. Those are the one of the all of those are the 6. So 3 of them.
Yes.
So IG-12, Paz Visa, because I do want Keller and Beck. Keller and Beck is amazing in TW. Like
Mhm.
even where I have him right now, it's amazing. Like he's just the mechanics of it are really good, and you just take that Qui Gon team, throw Beck lead, and TW it works. So I do want Bo-Katan. I think she's an amazing. She just like walks through Lord Vader, and being able to save Bane for something else because he's been my
Yeah.
like Lord Vader counter as well. I would like that, and I probably would do that if by the time I finish Leia and Keller
Yeah.
and it was between like Gungans, Bo-Katan, Mandalore, Jedi Knight, Cal Kestis, I may push towards Bo-Katan if her shards were like close enough, if I was like if it
I
made
think that
sense.
they will be. You'll
hmm
be fine
Yeah,
because you have them all at 6 stars. That's 100 shards maximum, and I'm assuming none of them are at 0 of 100, which means
they're
that
like
even.
they're pretty much like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 or
Okay,
something
so they're
around there.
close. They're close to that, but that's a maximum of 60 days. Okay, and if you're talking
Yeah.
about lover boys and you're talking about Leia, and then you're talking about also gearing them,
hmm
you're gonna be fine.
Well, I
Just
think
slow farming those things.
they're dark side though, and that's why they're 6 stars. A lot of them is because I
Yeah,
just finished JMK and that slowed down
and
farming
you were
them.
doing the
Yeah, Leia, and that's gonna
farming.
and that's why I'm thinking, okay, I may need like I may and that's where I'm like. I would like to have Gungans. It's like a nice. It would be nice to have them, and I just don't
Hmm.
want. And I do think because right now I think in Conquest, because I would like to start red boxing, I think Gungans are going to be very important in Conquest for a really long time. Just because the uniqueness of their abilities, their buffs, their
Healed
debuffs,
up.
their and then their faction, isolated faction. I do think they're worth having because of that. Like because I think they're gonna have value beyond what they can give you right now. I think they're a faction that are just gonna keep on giving, I think, and having relevance for a very long time.
And you're not red boxing most conquests right now.
And right now, no, but I'm starting to get to
Mm.
the point where because I haven't been doing it because I usually get them at 5 months because like
Yes,
what was it, Lucian or Luthen? What was it, Lucian? Luthen?
Luthen.
Luthen? Okay, Luthen.
Luthen.
So Luthen, if I got him right now, I would not have the bandwidth to work him, right? Like
Yeah,
you have
I'm
the
not either.
yeah, so I don't have the
You'll see.
bandwidth to work him. And I probably and there was only one conquest character that I was like, I wish I would have red boxed, and that was Bane. That was the only one where I
Mhm.
was like, I done messed up. I need this. I need this in my account right now. And then I ended up getting a month 4, I think. So instead of 3.
Yeah, that seems like it makes more sense just because, like, if you're someone who's red boxing all the time, I understand the worry about, like, oh, I win 15 battles with Gungans, win with Jar Jar
Mhm.
Binks, and that stuff. But if you're not already doing it and you're unlocking on this 4 to 5 months cadence, I just don't think you're getting enough out of it where it actually matters. And I'm someone who red boxes all of the time. But because you're going to be constantly in this crunch, like over and over and over again, it's going to be very rare that you are going to have the bandwidth unless a character is that amazing right out the gate. And we don't
Yeah.
generally know that. And it's something that you can account for because it is only one team typically.
Well,
But listen, that's
also
where I would go with it.
I think the 2025 fleet, like I'm estimating March. March is when when
That
I will
seems,
release
yeah.
it, and I would like to be able to red box those for that ship because like there hasn't been a reason for me to red box. I'm thinking I will need to at that
Yeah.
point, and I would like to have some of the more relevant things that could possibly
But
help
will
me
you
get there.
need, so this is a whole nother conversation. Will you
Well,
need to? And what I
I
mean
don't
by
think
that is
so because it
like
doesn't.
most people aren't going to.
Yeah, I don't need it, but that's my advantage in GAC. Like
But I
that's
want it.
no,
Yeah.
well,
I get that.
that's like my thing, right? Like fleets
That's true.
are how I survive in the
Yep.
realm of like where I can't farm all the ground stuff, but I can farm all
Yep.
the fleets, and I can get that up
All the
and
fleet
running.
stuff.
Yeah, but I
And that's
same
assuming
thing.
that they're conquests.
Yeah,
I,
same.
I think the next fleet will be hard, but it doesn't mean it's going to be a conquest related.
But I did get Leviathan after 3 months, and
Hmm.
and that was perfectly fine. And I think I could wait 2 months, 3 months for the new fleet, and it would not be that big of a difference for me, honestly. Because I have
Yeah.
Leviathan, it
I
should be
personally
on
find
par.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah, it's not a big thing. It's not honestly, it's not. It's more of those like. It's one of those things where it's like I just want to have it, and that's it. Like I
I
can't put a reason
You're
on
like,
it.
yeah, you're like Veruca Salt. But Daddy,
Yeah.
I want Leviathan and I want it now.
But 100%, I'm on the fence. I don't know if I'm a farm Gungans. Like at the moment, I'm like that's where I'm leaning towards. But I may just skip it, go straight into Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, and then into Bo-Katan Mandalore, and then
Hmm.
farm because I would rather have a fully functional Night Sister, a fully functional Seer Malicos, a fully functional a Malgus killer with Jedi Knight
You
Cal
know what? That's a
Kestis.
really good point. As a bigger GAC player, again, like I would do Bo-Katan because it's an easier thread. But as a GAC player, I think after Leia, I'm gonna amend my answer to say
Hmm.
Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, not because I think the mission is more important, but it is gonna open up all of those other sub teams for you,
Yeah.
and that's gonna be beneficial for you as a player, the way that you like to play the game.
And I would like JML to be a little better. Like a lot of times I'm just like, okay, I guess I'll just like throw him at Qui-Gon. Like
Yeah,
that's what you're gonna do. You're just gonna go at Qui-Gon because you're just not that. I can't find anything better to do with you.
that's yeah. That I mean that's the way that I play.
Hmm.
But I think for you, Cal Kestis, just because of the Seer team. And again, like I don't really think merit is worth prioritizing, but from a content perspective and wanting to help people, and from the perspective of having Jedi Knight Cal Kestis for Zepho, Marin makes the most sense. But I really, really, really would prioritize Zori, and I really would deprioritize Gungans.
I'll
I've spoken.
I'll I'll
That's my
sleep.
law.
I'll sleep on it. I'll sleep. I probably am gonna skip Gungans. I've been feeling. I've like and it's one of those things where it's like I haven't been able to shard farm new like this. That's new to me. I did like shard farming new things, like unaccelerated things.
Hmm.
Like Leia was the first thing I farmed because they were so generous with her shards of everything of her requirements. And then
Hmm.
I saw the pattern of like, hey, these new marquee systems, the new the galactic chases that they have with them, and all the like web stores and all this stuff. I was like, new unaccelerated farms are now super approachable, and it doesn't take you
Yeah.
6 months. It takes you like 2 to 4 months or something, depending on how you do it.
Especially with the new marquee structure, they usually give us those 5 free shards. I don't, this will be the first time. Well, actually, no, Gungans were, and they still did it, like bonus drops.
Yep. Yeah.
So typically, if you're at a point where you can take advantage of that stuff, yes, even unaccelerated farms do not take anywhere near as long
Mhm.
as they used to.
Yeah, and I started doing that as well for the Bo-Katan stuff. So I didn't do all of them, but I just bought the
Mhm.
2 packs and the web store pack, and then I it takes them to four stars like halfway through, and it's a
Yeah,
decent for the cost of it, like 20 or was it 2600 crystals to get that many
yes.
shards. I was like, hey, that's a great return. So
I don't do it for the first one in a pack, so I didn't do it for Night
yeah,
Trooper.
I didn't
I
either.
didn't do it for Morgan, but I will. I did do it for the ones after that because the first one I know I'll be able to farm in time always.
Hmm.
But for the next ones, I can never guarantee it. So I
Yeah,
go, oh, it'll be worth it.
yeah, same thing. Night Trooper. I was like, there's no reason to do him because I'm gonna be able to
Yeah,
slow farm him by the time I'm ready with
yeah,
the others. I did do the other two, and then I did skip Morgan because she's for Balin's Skull. So I was like, yeah, I'll just like slowly farm her
I
up.
did the same exact thing.
Yeah,
Same thing.
twinsing,
All right, so
twinning.
you heard, man. This is what I do with your account. I know you're not going to listen to me, and that's okay. But that's how I would change things. Maybe if you don't farm Gungans, I will be very happy. And when the guy who loves the Gungans tells you not to farm them, that maybe you should listen to him.
Yeah, well, I did want 100%. I was going to farm their shards because I think once they become accelerated, just the chance that you can get those Zeta drops that they've been doing lately with farms, the big
Yeah,
farms after it, like I think that 100% is worth at least like farming the shards. And at this
it
point,
depends though,
well, I'm
because we did 2 Zeta drops in the
mhm.
last couple of months, and the first Zeta drop was
Oh, it
it was
was
pretty generous,
super. Well, I
and then
did.
the second set,
I think it was Jedi Knight Cal Kestis I did, and I got like a lot
yeah,
of Zetas.
during the Poncho one, like that one was so like that's when they kind of tapered off, even on
Yeah,
shards. And I think that that's going to be the new normal. So
maybe,
I
maybe.
got maybe 8 extra Zeta material, but I spent a lot of crystals trying to get that.
Yeah, I didn't do that one, but yeah, I don't know. I'm flexible with what we can do here, but yeah, that's a good point. 'Cause they do like to like give us rewards and then pull it back, and it's like,
Hmm.
are you still gonna do what you did before, even though we give you
Is it
less?
still worth it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a give and take, so I get it. Okay, cool. So we can jump into your account now.
I'm excited.
All right, so now we have Egnard's account with the awakened Mandalorians. Whose guild is that? You did a
Uh,
yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to yell at you. I woke you up. No, but it's
the
long.
Tales episode? Yes,
Yeah.
my guild leader's Tish,
Tish, yeah.
and I did do an episode with him. I've been in with them for I don't even know how long, 4 or 5 years now.
Hmm. Honestly, that's probably one of my favorite ones, just because you guys have like a good chemistry, right? Because you've known each other for so
Yeah,
long.
we've known each other.
Yeah. All right, so almost 12 million GP. You're like right there. What are you?
I know I've been trying.
Yeah, you're so close.
Every time a new character
Mhm.
comes out, I'm like, all right, this is the day, and it doesn't happen.
Yeah, so I feel like the big milestones are probably like 4, 8, 10, 12. I don't know why 11 doesn't seem like a big deal, but I feel like
Yeah,
12 is
I
like a bigger
I
deal.
didn't care at 11. I
Yeah.
definitely am like, come on, 12, 12.
Yeah,
I
I don't.
think what it is that 12 always seemed like, at least in the last year or two, that's where all the whales were. Like, oh my God, they have a 12
Yeah.
million account. And
It
now I'm
is
like, oh, I'm there.
it is very different. So if I'm finding like an under 12 million account, I'm like, yeah, whatever. I could still beat this. If I'm finding over 12, that's when like counters stop working because their
Yeah,
relics and their
they're
datacrons and
mod.
everything. Yeah, their everything, their depth is just like okay. So like that's what happened yesterday. I faced I don't know how much GP he had. It was probably over 12 or something. And my counters just didn't work. Like my normal counters of like, hey, this works. You know, it's like my peanut butter and jelly counters of this is all reliable. I just like smashed against a wall, and I'm like, okay, I guess I just embarrassingly lose this one. So, all right,
That's me every GAC.
yeah, all right. So 7.3 million GP, 4.6 in ships. God, so much time, like 7 years time played.
Yeah, January 1st, 2017. So
Yeah,
that's almost 8 years now.
yep. You got all your fleets.
Everything.
Yeah, I know you had Gear 12 was like you Gear 12 everything every single thing in your
Hmm.
account, right? You have all your
Everything
fleets.
that's not brand new.
Do you have all your ship omegas done? Like all your reinforcements, all your ship
Every ship is
completely
completely
maxed?
done,
Okay.
completely maxed.
So good
I was
job on
so
that.
happy the day that that happened.
Yeah, I would take your Iden up a little. Like Relic 3, do you lose the counter? Well, you
I
don't
don't
do it,
use that.
right? You
I
don't
don't use
use
that
it?
counter.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
Like I said, you and I are opposites in
Hmm.
GAC. You set up an easy defense and a hard fleet, and then you use those ship counters. I
Yeah.
set a really hard defense and a really, really easy fleet, and I just use my GLs.
Yeah. So you have all R8 except for R7 SLKR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
You
know
just
what it is with SLKR is I was actually talking about it on a stream this morning. SLKR was my last GL before I hit before the new ones started coming out. So like
yeah.
when I got SLKR, Jabba wasn't out, Leia wasn't out. And when I got him to to Relics, that's when they started releasing all of this new stuff, and I just never had time to go back and properly
Hmm.
finick with that team.
Okay. Yeah. I was about to say, why do you have an R8 Asajj? But yeah, you have R8 Night Sisters, so
Yes,
for ROTE.
they're great. I love them.
Did you? I do want to see the arrow because last time I gave you shit about the R her arrow because she had
Yes,
a 5 dot arrow and you're like you shit. Like I spent
you
some
you
time to
piece of shit.
farm. I actually I put a I did recently pull one out of the store for her. I went with the crit
Mhm.
avoidance with tenacity and potency on there with the
You know what I
tenacity
find
set.
is that she doesn't die first, so I
Yeah.
don't feel like I need a crit avoidance arrow. Like it's very rare. I don't think it really ever happens that she dies. It's always the rest of the team dies, and maybe her in the end.
Yeah, because I'm sure your what is it? Tenacity is 160, so that's good. That potency is really good. So I'll
That
look and
was the goal with her. Yeah,
yeah, I'll look and see. I would like to, but I haven't used it yet. This is a lot of speed on here for her.
it's just that that was the
Yeah,
only
the only potency
potency one that
with
I
it.
have.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and eventually I will go back and I will fix that and put that on somebody else.
Hmm.
It of course, you know how like you always roll nothing but everything except speed, and then when you don't want the speed to roll, it's like no, we'll roll it every time.
Yeah, I've been looking in the shops honestly for tenacity because I think I'm a farm mine all tenacity. Maybe I should be more flexible and have like one potency set in there. maybe I'll do that. I'll open it up and have like two tenacity, two potency, or something, or one tenacity set, one
That's one way to do
potency,
it. I
two
think it's good to
tenacity.
have at least one of each set for
Yeah,
her.
but I should. I don't know. Honestly, I don't farm those, or when I go through, I do look at like my tenacity ones and see like, okay, is this good for Marin? So I like if they don't have speed, I still take a look at it. But I think now I'll
Mhm.
start opening it up to potency ones and be like, okay, is this good for Marin? Because I have her cross, I have her arrow. Now I just need like everything else.
She has finicky modding because you
Hmm.
don't want that speed, so it is good to start her mods
Yeah, early.
early,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
to
because
get
it's
that stuff down.
Yeah, because I don't want to farm like I'm not in the need of maybe once I like the very last legendary I farm, which is Afra. Maybe once I farm her, I'll like farm some potency and then I'll farm some find some stuff. But I just never farm potency or tenacity mods, so I buy them out of the store whenever I see them.
Yeah.
So or whenever we get them given, but those aren't given that often. Okay. Yeah. So you have a lot of the stuff. It's easier for these big counts to see at the bottom, right? So like you said, Night
Yes.
Trooper, Morgan. So you did 4-star, Death Trooper, Prudia, Enoch. So this is exactly what I did. I honestly I don't take them to level 85 because I'm struggling. I still need tons of what do you call it, credits. I just don't have the credits.
Yes.
Like all my
For
credits
that.
go to mods or whatever for leveling, and I try to like focus on working on what my next farms are. So and I'm just working on I think like conquest characters because I have most of my farms at 85 now. So I do level 64 gear 8 and I throw some mods on them and they're able to beat the event. So that's all I need them
Yeah. I
for.
mean, again, I've been playing almost 8 years, so credits. I do buy mods too. It's not like I don't buy mods. I
Mhm.
generally have about 90 to a million, 100 million credits. I try to stay around there. But I don't need credits to the same degree, especially with Duel of the Fates now. You get so many credits from it,
Yeah, I'm looking
that
forward
I'm
to
not
that.
concerned.
Well,
Not concerned with them at all.
last week I ran out of credits. I didn't.
Ugh.
I didn't have
Yeah.
to. While I was working my mods, I didn't have. I had to go in and buy credits, and I could accelerate it, but I'm also like accelerating my. I'm leveling a lot of stuff to gear 12 right now, so I'm using all my Mark 1 currency on like Carbantes and stun guns and all the old stuff too. So it's like a balance.
Hmm.
I think once I have my bros at gear 12 or like relics 9, that should pass. But yeah, that's
You're going to
good.
get a lot of credits, so it makes it
Yeah.
easier.
So you got Luthen over here. I don't really like his character model. He looks like 80 years old, doesn't he?
He does. He looks old, and I don't think the resolution is as great as some of the other new ones. But again, like once we saw his kit, I was kind of like, okay, I don't really care. So I
Yeah.
haven't spent that much time even looking at him.
Yeah, the
You know, you
walking
can see I haven't even put mods on him yet.
yeah, the walking cane isn't doing him any favors either. Um I do hope we have his ship. His ship is cool. I think it
I
would
think
be
it will come out.
yeah, like a lot of
You
people
know,
were
I
talking
think
about his ship.
one mistake that CG made was that they announced Ezra early, like
Yeah.
really, really
Well,
early, because a lot of people assumed Luthen's ship was going to be the next conquest unit, and
yeah.
I think more people would have relicked him in anticipation.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what kind of sucks about these puzzles because they're like, hey, we're gonna have puzzles, but everything is we already know everything that they've launched.
You
Like,
know everything.
yeah, like even the trooper farm and everything. It's like, okay, oh look, it's another thing that we already know that you guys told
We
us.
already Well,
Yeah,
with the trooper farms, when they're like night trooper to R7 or this to R7, and I've said like we already know that, and some people will call me out and say, well, technically we didn't. They didn't technically say it would be R7, and it's kind of like every GL, every marquee for that GL
yeah.
has had the same relic requirement. So yes, we have known that.
Yeah, but honestly, it's like it's just not. It doesn't feel good. It's not fun. It's not what they want.
No,
Where it's like community involvement. Like the only one was like when they announced GL Ahsoka. That was like, oh wow, like we were
a
expecting
big
a
puzzle.
ship, yeah, and then here we have the next GL. So and we didn't know is it going to be like Thrawn? Is it going to be Ahsoka? Is it going to be something new? So that was the only puzzle that was like, oh hey, this is like huge news. But everything else after the
Yeah.
road ahead, it's like okay, when the most convoluted road ahead with like information everywhere, but it's like, but we have all that information, and they're just like, well, here's it again. So
In case you missed it, because it was in 30 parts.
yeah, so yeah, I don't, I will say, I think I told you before, right? Like I did use my Gear 12 Treya to beat a Luthen with Mon Mothma.
Hmm.
It was a good Mon Mothma team. Um, but I beat it with a Gear 12 Treya, so I was pretty.
So that I'm glad you said that because I
You're
when
gonna
I
put it on
saw that it was
defense?
maybe when I saw it was maybe beating GL, I was like, maybe I should just get him and put it on defense.
Yeah,
And now
Treya
I'm like, maybe
Treya ate
not.
through it. It was pretty easy. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they plan. Maybe with Saw, I don't know. Maybe with Saw, it's
Yeah,
gonna be good. But I think it has more call outs towards Mon Mothma, and
not enough.
and that's a horrible thing because it's like, oh, it elevates it, but if it elevates it, but it's like hard counters are still hard countering it, then like, what is it really
Hmm.
elevating? And unless we find out on offense it beats like GL Ahsoka or something, like it's just off meta King that's going to counter
Yeah.
this, then it's like, okay, I'm because like some nerd who's like an R9 Luthen later on finds out like, hey, this is the counter that we need, then yeah, maybe everyone will work at the end with Saw or something. But until then,
You
I don't
say some nerd, and I already
yeah,
have had people message me. There are 9 Luthens, and I'm
yeah.
like, oh boy.
Yeah. Well, the Egnards army people or just other.
No, just other people. The
Oh,
Egnard's
okay.
army, it doesn't have Luthen. Nobody in Egnard's army can get Luthen right now.
Yeah. All right. So this is the realm of what I said when I was working your account, where I was like, oh no, like oh no, like I was like, because I kind of had like formulated a plan in my head of like, oh, I
Yeah,
finally get this massive account of what I wanted to do, and it's like in this Gear 12 world, or like, hey, this
they're all there
Savage, yeah, I would love a relic
with
Savage.
with his
Um,
great mods. Yeah,
Yeah. So well,
his
his
like
his
old.
mods are like, yeah, it doesn't matter all that much because he gets fed so much turn meter as long as he can survive, and his survivability is really good. But it was like Savage. You didn't have the armor. You didn't have the seer unaligned force users. You don't. I think great teams like backwall teams are Trench and Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, which you didn't have. I wanted Terran Malicos. You have his three Zetas, Gear 12, but no Omicrons, no relics. So that's the stuff where I was like, these things, if I like, if you gave me your account and you're like, hey, watch this for 6 months, those immediately would be the things I would be working on taking, at least like Relic 5 or something, like Seer
So
Malicos, Dark
when
DTMG.
Taran when Taran Malikos actually released was I think a totally different point in this game. Where my goal was twofold. One, to get every character to G12, which I've done, unless they're brand new and not farmable yet.
Yeah,
But two, to also get every Zeta in the game. Because I was just swimming in Zetas, and I know that that's a first world problem. So that's why I
that's
have all the Zetas on him. And up until 2 months ago, I was only missing like 30 Zetas left, which is not that many. They were literally all the crap ones. But they've now announced so many releases that I'm like, oh shit! Like I need to save these because I need 6 for Ahsoka, I need 4 for Balin Skull, I need them for 3 or 4 for Ezra. Like I need to make sure I have these things again. So I've kind of slowed down on that project.
okay. Yeah, I wouldn't say swimming in Zetas is even a problem. But yeah, like that's what I would love to see some of those things like Savage, Saw. Because like you have some good teams here, right? Like if you could Saw Lucian, Seer Malicos, DTMG, yeah, on the UFUs, light side UFUs, stuff like that would be great, I think, in your account. But those are kind of things that, well, Seer Malicos you would use on offense, right, to take out.
Yes.
Um,
I had planned to, that was another thing, and I had said this to you previously. That was my next planned team after Gungans, and then they just announced so much that I said, oh well, I guess I have to hoard.
and your Datacrons are not good.
No,
This is not this you did not go hard on this one. So
I never go hard.
yeah,
I get what I
this,
get.
oh man, you're
The way that
you're
I do datacrons is the first set of a datacron set. I go hard on trying to get not always R9s. This set I felt like I needed some R9s, but it depends on the set. Sometimes it's the R3 that makes a difference. Sometimes it's the R6. So I did try to get a few R9s this time, or I keep saying R9s, but I mean level nines.
yeah.
And then the second set, I do not roll anything. I just try to rebuild my credits. So right now, I do have a decent amount of credits. I probably could roll like two more level nines or maybe three more level nines, but I want to be prepared for the next set with my credits.
Yeah, because the level sixes were what was good, but the problem with the level sixes was it was so hard to
They're
get
all over
them
the place.
that you wanted to take them to nine. Because I have like you have two good level six attackers, you have
Yes.
one protection up. Yeah, because like this isn't even a good like you would have to re-roll this to make it good, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like this needs to be re-rolled into the protection up when you get dots for it to be like a good Wampacron, and then it is
I don't
well.
even use Wampa with. I don't even use this Datacron with Wampa. I feel like anything I'm going to use Wampa for, he doesn't need the Datacron,
Well,
and I haven't
he
found
can.
teams
Well, like
that I feel like I need him for otherwise.
well, because I've gone against like really good Idens with like super high relics and Iden crons, and then I put on that Wampa cron, and if I didn't at least have the level three, then he would
Yeah.
have died, and then having the rest just made it super like not timeout essentially
Well,
because
see,
of all the
I haven't seen Iden on defense in probably at least like a year. If you were to go back through my
even with
battles,
Idencron, because I we're
I haven't
like
seen it.
we're in the same place. Like
Now, keep in mind,
it's not like we're in different worlds of like we're in the same area of GAC. So we
keep in mind with
same
Idankron that that's new,
yeah
and you don't really see Iden in threes. So I did not see it my last week, and I went 3-0.
yeah because yeah it was the
And
last GAC I saw Iden,
yeah,
and I have a good Wapacron, and I do think if I didn't have that cron, it would have been an issue. Like I wouldn't
yeah,
have been able to because you know like after someone dies, then she taunts right with her good one,
yeah.
and then the tons of recovery and everything like that and damage. So that could be an issue with Wampa, like either timing out because you're like okay I'll kill. And same thing when you have like Scout Trooper and he's there, and always like going invis, and then he has revive, and then you just have to like time it out right. But then you time that with Iden also having taunt, and then the team not dying as well without the cron. Like, but when you have the good cron like this, you just like roll. Again, like I think you could roll the level three, right? Like I don't know what your materials are or how much you have, but I
I
think
probably
that
have the materials.
yeah, I think that would be an easy, just like roll the level three. Just you never know, because it like it could probably take out like star killers. I don't know what else this is doing, but I think there's
Do you still see
worlds.
Star Killers?
Yeah, I use before when we didn't have when they weren't killing rays. I saw them all the
Here you
time.
go. I just rolled it,
Uh huh.
and now it is the damage over time protection up.
Okay,
So you
there
have
you
me.
go. Yes, I am.
There you go.
See, like one quick little thing.
Every
Um,
time I come on with you, it's like, all right, fine, I guess I'll do
yeah.
something.
Yeah, but I do think it's nice to have. It's a nice to have. I think there's going to be some time where you're going to message me and you're going to be like, "Hey, you were
I
right.
finally
I
did.
did use it." So and now you have insights, so you can see like what
Yeah.
exactly can that do. And I think you'd be surprised with what Wampa can do. I don't know. I haven't used it. Stop. I used it to beat the Grievous with stop,
Hmm.
even though it just makes it more reliable, right? Like that's it. I look for because if I drop a battle, I just lose. Like I'm done. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Game
Yeah. The way that
over.
you play.
So like having that flexibility of like, okay, I know for certain with this Datacron, it's just gonna work exactly how I need it, and that's how I have to play. I do like the relic levels that you have on some of these things. Like relic seven's pretty much your standards for your Mauls, your
Your
Bo-Katans,
important
your
stuff.
yeah. So I do like that. I think that's pretty a smart way to play. And then you get a good amount of use out of them from rote, right? Like at least for the first, what is it, 3 days?
For which ones?
For
For all of
Relic
those guys?
7?
Yeah, I
Right,
mean,
like if 3 days,
you
right?
know,
You get that's a okay. I don't know if the I know the first day is a wash for you, right? Like it doesn't matter. Second day probably like probably as much
I
of
would
a
honestly say I don't. My combats don't matter for like the first 4 days
oh
of
really four
GAC.
days? Wow.
Or not GAC, TB, and
Hmm.
not like, hey, if nobody does combats, we're screwed. But what I mean is, if I drop a battle or two, it's not a big deal.
Well,
We're not tight.
yeah. I just mean like having the flexibility to use them
Yeah,
at Relic
I do
7.
try.
Hmm.
I do try to give up the important stuff. So, like, I almost never get to use Cat in TB because I know other people need her more than I do. I obviously have a lot of toys and tools that I can use. So, I do have a lot of flexibility for TB.
Yeah. Why do you have a Relic 8, what do you call it? Rex?
For TB.
Row? Just to have the
For
Phoenix?
just to be up. No, so my goal was originally to be able to do the Lothal TB Phoenix battle, which
Hmm.
is why I started bringing them up to R7, and I obviously have an R7 team. And I took Captain Rex up one for the raid because I was like, oh, I could just use him in the raid, but also I want him for that battle to be able to do that battle just for fun. But then things started coming out, and I was like, all
Yeah.
right, I guess I have to scratch that. But the
Okay.
goal was to have an R8 Phoenix team.
Okay. Almost got there.
Now I have no signal data, so it's like, oh, it's gonna wait for a while.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. I got actually no no. I think I do have some saved just because I'm shard farming and through assault battles and all the random stuff. I just like because
Hmm.
I took Quadme and the Padawan Obi-Wan to Relic 3 just through like free income. Like I didn't farm any of that, but I
Yeah.
think I have some passive stuff. But yeah, let's. I do want to look at your mods.
Well, they're
So
nowhere near as good as yours,
well,
I'm
my
sure.
mods aren't special. So you have a lot more 300 account or 300 characters than I do. Oh, hold on.
Oh yeah,
Sorry.
wait. So can we play the game? Can you guess where you think those
Okay.
300 stop?
Well, I already clicked some, so I know it's around here. I'm guessing if you need to change your Sidious mods like that, his Datacron's gone. Like he's way his
I
mods are
actually
way
did not. I did not remod Sidious
well
for
his
the.
mods are too good for where he is. I don't know what they are, but they're too good. I would say maybe Trip Zero.
Okay,
Or
let's
way
see.
off. 296. Pretty close.
Oh, okay, slightly.
All right. Let's see. Climbing up. 297. That's not bad. 298. All right. Is this 299?
That'd be
Honestly,
great.
honestly, like Dash Rendar's mods, like to get him over 300 is almost nothing, right? Like he's so
Yeah, he's
like
fast.
yeah. Honestly, I don't know why you have such crappy mods on him. He's a pilot.
I
Like
just don't use. I don't
you don't
use
use the
him. But yeah, but
profundity. You don't use the
no,
I'm
no, I
like
do use the profundity, but the profundity does what I need it to do, so
yeah,
I
but
don't need to increase its speed.
I don't know. I don't get me wrong. I have like four. I'm missing two of them at 6 dots, and I'm like one speed slower. But I still would have 6 dot mods on them
I
at
think if I
least.
had the prepared squad for GAC, I would
Yeah,
prioritize him more.
299, getting there, coming close. Rex, sexy Rexy.
Can you
No,
not? You can't go left and right in the
all right.
PC client.
Yeah, I can. What do you mean left and right?
No, like you know how like in the game client, while you're in a character, you can just go hit left and right, and there's like little arrows on the
No,
sides.
there's no arrows here. You can see what I
Uh,
see.
no, I
Maybe.
see that there's no arrows. I'm just surprised that that feature
Well,
isn't
it
there.
it probably is on my account, but not.
Oh, that's right,
Yeah.
because you're on my account. Got it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Count Dooku is 300.
Count Dooku is
All
my
right.
300.
Yeah. Is it? Okay, yeah. Yeah. Jin. Okay, yeah, so not bad. So how many rows is that? One, two, three, four, five, 40 characters at 300 or more. That's pretty
Nice.
good.
Now when I get off with you later, I'm gonna like sit there and just those guys that are really close, and like I'm gonna get them to
Yeah,
300
yeah,
in a
you
couple more,
should. Yeah,
whether
yeah,
it matters or not.
you do have a bunch. You should do that. I probably would do that. Like if I had your account, I would
Just
just
the
like, yeah, just okay. This one has two more speed. You're now 300. This I would have like I don't know 50 more at 300 speed or something. Just by like one or two speed more. But
yeah.
yeah, but your mods, if you've been playing for a really long time, it's really hard. Like you have to like legitimately, because some people do. They just like don't farm. They don't farm any mods. They don't like do anything.
You know what's
So,
funny is that it was only in the last like 3 months that I started doing mod refreshes, and I
uh-huh.
don't recommend that for people. It's just that having played for so long, I have such a backlog where it's not the worst thing in the world. I do tell people to do mod refreshes. Now I do them 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. So while Conquest is not running, I do mod refreshes, and while Conquest is running, I do Conquest refreshes. So I've been trying to like shore up some of my mods.
I will say your top speed characters are a little slow though, because like yeah, like the very top of your non GLs are like a little slower than I would expect. Like you were
Yeah.
one, two, three, four, five characters in, and we're in 330s. That's like a little slow, I think. But you know, you have a depth, just not a lot of like crazy fast, right? Yeah, because like my bush, I think is closer to like 350s. Same thing as like Mara Jade doesn't have to be like super crazy fast, but I
Mhm.
like her fast personally, even though because you're usually using Star Killer against like a GL, so I think it's
Yes.
worth it to have Mara Jade in like the four mid 400s or something or lower
You have her that
430s.
fast?
No, like I don't know how fast I have her. Close to yours, maybe like 359 or something, 350s.
Okay, I was gonna say.
No, but like through 420s, I guess, blazing it up. But but I do think an Echo. I think my fastest is Cat because right now with the Cron having, I think like 366, I think is what I have her at. Um,
I don't play that. I don't play the mirror at all. I because of the way I play GAC, I don't have to deal with it. And then two, in my regular arena, I do one battle and I automatically get out of it because it's just not fun.
Yeah. Well, I like to use my JMK. I just got
Yeah.
him. So whenever I get a new GL, I'm sure I'll do that with because that's how I learn how to play him, right? Like
Hmm.
I play him in arena. Like same thing like fleets. That's how I learned my fleets. And it was hard with profundity because I didn't get to play it. So I had to learn it through like TW, GAC, stuff like that. But profundity I wasn't able to. Yeah. So good depth for someone who's like I don't do mods. Like you have good mods because
Yeah, it's
there's
time, you know.
but there are players who have the time,
That's
but
true.
yeah, but they have it's a crime, you know, like just absolutely like super garbage, just absolutely the worst, and they don't farm mods, and they're just like whatever I have, that's going to six
Hmm.
dots, and if it has speed or
Yeah.
not, you know, and they have like all six dot mods, and they're just like the worst. So there, it's not that. It's like you still engaged it in it. You still have decent.
To a minimum level, of
Yeah,
course.
you weren't like super sweaty with it.
Not at all.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So good. That's good overall. I think I looked at your stuff before too. I don't really care to. Yeah, this is good. Like I don't want to look at all your GL stuff, but yeah, it's good. Like you have good speeds overall. Good account. Good. You got everything for the most part, except for um.
I know you want those GAC counters,
Yeah. Well,
and you're like,
I do think if I had your account, for me they would be important because like I think there's value in having a solid B to A minus tier defense,
mhm,
and then you take your best and then you full clear them and you beat them super like clean. But there right now, if you because if you're not going with if you're not farming like Datacron super hard, because right now it is like we're back to a defensive meta because some of these
Hmm.
Datacrons are just like really crazy. But I would not, like personally, I would not engage in that. Like I'm not going to be the guy who's going to sit there like even if I had everything at top 100, because I'm just not going to like drop or farm Datacrons or their materials or spend money on them so that I can compete at that level because it's absolutely nuts what you see up there.
My God, some of the things are they're insane, and I'm happy where I am in GC because I don't have to do that. I get all of those data cruns just from doing my 50s every day. And again, I just get what I get, and the way that I figure it, and one of the reasons why I always keep a crystal hoard is that if I lose, so I lost 5 in a row in threes, but it didn't matter to me because I had crystals in the backing. I wasn't counting on those crystals. And then now we've come back to fives, and so far I've won 4 in a row. So I'm making it back up a couple of weeks later, and I'm staying at like that 50 percentile that they want us to stay at. It doesn't really affect my income because I don't have to worry about my income on a day-to-day basis.
I don't know how some people do like live paycheck to paycheck with their crystals. I don't know how
Paycheck
they
to
do it.
paycheck and Boga.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know how they do that cuz like some people will send me and they got like four crystals. It's like are you,
yeah.
like you're
I see
really
it all the time.
yeah, like how are you guys
How
living your life like that in this game? It would give me anxiety. I was like I can't do my refreshes today. Like I can't, you know. Like cuz
So if I did that, I have 40,000 crystals right now. I probably could make a pretty good dent in the relics,
mhm.
to get them
Yeah.
all to G13 if I spent them, but it's not worth it
Yeah, cuz people say that too. They're like what are you saving all your crystals for? I was like, well,
for the big
I'm
stuff.
yeah, it's like I'm farming what I need. I'm like I'm progressing at a pace that I'm really comfortable with. And it's like if you accelerate
Yep.
some things, you're just accelerating into that new bottleneck. And it's like if I'm comfortable with my
Yes.
current bottlenecks, I'm happy with the progress I'm going. Like why do I need to like hurry up and it's like if there's a bunch of lines and you're sprinting into the next line. It's like okay, what
Yep.
or like cars, like you're like speeding and then you like stop and
You
then
get in
you're at that
traffic.
red line or you're at that red light and it's like okay I'm also now at that red light but I didn't like go 130 to get there where like it's
Yeah.
just unnecessary so I
And
think
I'm
if
not
you're
afraid to use crystals. So,
mhm.
when Jar Jar came out, I had 60,000 at that point, and I ended up using by the time Jar Jar came out about 90,000 crystals. I burned through them. I'm not afraid to use them. I just don't need to right now.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I recently spent like 25,000 crystals so now I'm at like close to 30 but
Yeah.
like I was at 50 and then I've gained some since then but I dropped down to like the mid 20s and now I'm up there at like somewhere in between 25 and 30K or something and yeah
Yeah.
I like got and I didn't have to but I took my seven profundity to 7 stars just because honestly mostly for rote like just having the being able
Just to
to
do
do
those
the
missions.
yeah the whole like every single day being able to do the light side missions, it adds up. Like those are some
It
good
does.
missions for
And those are double value. So,
yeah, yeah, and it's super easy. It doesn't take me long. It's like I just play through them. If I lose, I lose. I haven't lost yet, but I don't know anything about those missions, so every time it's kind of like a little jank. um,
some of them are easy. Some of Braca is a little bit on the tougher side, but it's obviously winnable. Ring of Kafrine is a little bit on the tougher side. The first one, first day, I don't remember, is it Coruscant? That one's easy. Day three, I think, is a little bit on the difficult side. Lothal is super easy. You can hit auto on that one.
have you ever talked to someone who's like really into the Lord of the Rings? And you talk to them and they're like super into the depth and they're like saying these names that you have no idea what they mean.
I
That's
know
how
what
I
you're
that's
talking about. Yeah,
yeah, that's how I feel when you talk about like
that's
when you start talking about like TV. You're like, oh yeah, yeah,
what are
I totally know what those planets are. I know
those
exactly what
planets?
you're talking about.
Well, see, I call them day four planet, day three
Yeah,
planet, but I just happen to know the names because I interact with them constantly.
yeah. I don't after we start hitting like R8 land, I'm like I do my fleet battles and that's it and
And
deploy.
then you're done.
That's all I can do. I don't have the teams to be able to like engage in them that way. So I definitely don't remember. I know Zepho, I know Mandalore. and that's it. Like, I
So
don't.
I get mixed up on the first day, right? So it's
Yeah,
like Mustafar, Corellia, Coruscant, and then day two is Geonosis, Felucia, Braca. Day three is Dathomir, Tatooine, Kashyyyk, and Zepho. Day four is Haven class, Kessel, and Lothal, and also technically Mandalore. And then day five, I don't know the two because I've never had to go to them, but then it's Ring of Kafrene on the light side, and that's just where my knowledge base is, and that's why I don't remember anything in my real life because
yeah.
it's all
The-
Swogalant knowledge.
Well, the date, I think it's the first RA like mixed one. I
Hmm.
I hate that one. I hate because I can't beat any of the missions. Like I think I beat one tier of them, but before that, pretty easy. But those R8, I
Oh,
don't
you
have
have
like a
Jabba? Do you not have a
R.
full Jabba RA team? Did I not
No, I
check that? Oh my
R7
god.
R7s.
Oh, that's why. Because Jabba, you can auto that mission with his
Yeah,
normal team.
yeah. I don't have the bandwidth right
You're
now.
not there yet.
Yeah, because I still have
Baby
unlocks.
steps.
I still have like Leia. I still have Lord Vader. I'm hoping for a
Hmm.
C bundle, Lightspeed bundle. Honestly, I think
I don't think you're gonna get it.
I think I'm saying if it's not by May of 2025, then I'll farm C. So I think I have enough.
Okay.
There's enough in between here and there where if I don't have one by then I'll finish off C because like after you once like Lord Vader C, I think I could farm relatively not Lord Vader, but like C I could farm very very quickly. It just has not been a priority for me.
I think your best chance for a C bundle is the anniversary in November.
I do think we're gonna get the light or the old the Ray SOKR ones.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's gonna
Yeah,
come back,
yeah.
of course.
I think before the end of the year we'll get Christmas or November. I don't know what we're gonna get new. Like there's because there was like a pattern, and then they just like threw it out the out the window, and now they're like I think we'll probably get like a crap bundle for every raid of like we're gonna sell you some trash that is gonna be good
Yeah.
just for this raid because that's easy money
They're
for
they're
them.
they're playing with different things, and
Hmm.
I think that the GL bundle was kind of just the gateway in, giving us something really, really, really high end. I personally don't expect them to see it again, but I do think that if they do it again, the best chance people have is November, is when you will see it if
Yeah,
it happens.
I think maybe Christmas as well.
They, I,
That's when was the
I
gas
feel like
one?
November is their Christmas.
What was what did we get for Christmas? We got something.
Nothing. We get nothing.
We didn't.
We
What
get the
was it? Just
12, we
old
get like
one?
12 days of just
I
bundles.
feel like we
And
got
it's like
Lightspeed
this,
bundles. Maybe it was just old
I don't,
Lightspeed bundles.
it
I
might have been in December. Beskar Mando came out.
yeah, maybe
But
Beskar.
not really like that Christmas
Hmm.
week. But it wasn't a high value one comparative to a GL one. It was still a
Yeah.
good value.
No. Well, it first
So
one was like November, right? Like the anniversary.
yes. Hmm.
We got the GL ones. So that was like mind
If
blowing. Yeah.
you, that's when it'll happen if it happens.
Maybe, yeah. But I'm willing to wait. I'm willing to wait a little bit just because
Yeah,
we
you don't
talked
need
about
them.
my farm pathway. Like there's C's not on my radar right now. And I do hate when people do that when they're like what is literally the closest thing to me and that's what they go
Hmm.
for and they're just like
Which is not always, yeah,
yeah. And it's like come on guys. There's so much out there that's good. You don't have to farm the closest thing that is
closest thing.
yeah. And that's why I hate the gas bundle because like people are like okay gas bundle and that's the only bundle where I tell players like you don't have to get the payout for it like
Yeah.
you can skip it just get the bundle the negotiator's great everything else is great in it like just you don't have to go all in get gas and keep moving you know.
Hmm. I would agree.
Yeah but yeah so that's your account it's like it's everything.
I enjoy you scrolling up and down and you see all the colors.
Yeah. Well, that's like the what we do in this game, right? Like we just scroll through and we're like, "Oh yeah, this is this is what I farmed." It's this is this is the game to me. I look at my roster and I'm like, yes, this is this is what I've done with it. But because there's not honestly, I would love a sandbox so we could actually like engage in it more and theory craft. But essentially, like looking at your roster is probably half of what the time spent in this game.
That's what it is. It's all time, and that's what people need to realize. Like, it is a marathon playing
Mhm.
this game, and it does take time. Some people want to advance really, really, really quickly through the game, and it just unless you're willing to spend a lot of money, that's just not how things work.
Yeah, I like to say because right now it's about like a month to 2 months for me to finish a big farm, depending on what it is, and I'm super comfortable
Yeah,
with that. I'm really happy with that pace, and I think as long as you like, it's those players who are like, I'm gonna farm this, and then they have no
yeah.
farming synergy, and then they start shard farming as their main farm, and then it takes them like 3 to 6 months, and then they're like, okay, I'm gonna farm something completely unrelated and start shard farming, and that's my main farm. And 3 to 6 months later, and they're like, "Oh, this game sucks," and then they stop playing. It's like, yeah, of course,
It's
if
an
you play it.
efficiency of how to farm.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's So, any last parting words for anything before we kind of close this off?
If anyone's listening to this, not even looking at my account, just in general, and this is kind of feeding off of what you're saying, is that a lot of this game is just playing smart. And if you play smart, you can subvert a lot of the microtransactions and you can subvert a lot of the spending that goes on. And I'm not here to tell people not to spend money in the game because that is what this game is about. And that's how, the developers pay their bills. And that's why the game exists, but you can spend within your own means and play the game, or you can not spend at all and play the game. You just have to understand that it is a time game, and you do have to take that as the most important resource is your time, and know that you're not going to get things in 3 months. You just have to understand smart farming strategies. And if we wanted to talk smart farming strategies, we will be here for another hour because I can sit here, you and I know, can
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
about that
like on,
forever.
yeah,
um,
honestly,
we
yeah.
both we both have plenty of guides and resources on how to do that for people. But just understand that if it's taking you way too long to do things, there are probably better ways to do it and smarter ways to do it and more efficient ways to do it. And ask for help and look for those resources because they are available to you.
Mhm. All right. Well, thanks for joining me. Always a pleasure. Always. I
Absolutely.
do.
Even though I had to cajole my way into this, but still,
Well,
it's
no,
nice.
I wanted to, because you've been so busy with your horrible game, whatever it's called.
We're not
Yeah,
even going to name it.
yeah. So I was like, you've been really, because that honestly that did look really fun. So are you going to be doing a new one sometime soon? What's your plan
So
for that?
obviously, we did the sponsored
Mm-hmm.
game, and that was to raise money for a new PC because I,
Yep.
I I play on my phone and I use a Mac that is this Mac specifically was designed just to get on Zoom for work. So it's not really equipped for this stuff. And a lot of people came out and helped me. I think we're gonna do one more next week.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't want to do them anymore. It was a lot of fun, but that's not what I'm here for. That's not what this is about. That's not why I help people. But being able to have those resources where I don't have to spend money, my player base, my fans don't have to spend money, and just a predatory company sends me money, we'll do that all day, to
Yeah.
raise money for that.
Well, yeah, but I knew you were really busy with that. Honestly, it did look fun. Even the game did not
It
sound
was a
or
fun time.
looked fun, but I think the interactions and like how you guys can work together to do things did look fun.
It was
So,
a lot. So one of the big things that people I've heard from kind of talk about, and in my Eggs Game Horde channel, which is now set to private unless you have the sponsor tag, but
uh-huh.
um, a lot of people have said, the game sucked, but
They
I
had
had
fun.
so much fun just
Yeah.
hanging out and like caring about each other's accounts and like really trying to help each other. And everyone was like, how do we bring this to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes? Because this game doesn't really have those same avenues
Hmm.
of of quick interactions. So I had fun doing that. That was enjoyable.
Yeah, well, it was the like it seemed like you guys can share resources, and that was the
Yes,
part where
it
it was
was like
like where you're
yeah,
like, okay, I'm getting this, okay, let's feed it into this person, and then you guys can like build each other up, almost like an MMO, right? Where like
it
you do
is.
the
It is. It was a
raid,
city
and it's
builder.
like,
That's exactly how you do
yeah,
it.
yeah. So I thought that looked really interesting. So I'll try to join next week if I'm done.
Next
If you
week.
start it, and then I can because I the next Monday through Thursday I'm
Yeah.
like complete wash. Like I'm or
You know
Sunday
what?
through
Like
Thursday, but after that I'm back to my normal schedule. I can interact with you guys and do.
what we did is I had real friends join, and they joined in the last like 3 days.
Uh-huh.
And we just helped them get there. Like they didn't have to start the same day as us, and it was a fun thing to do. But
Yeah, because I
now we're almost there, and good. I'm happy about that.
Yeah, because I didn't have time. I honestly didn't even have time to play this game. Like I
Yeah.
should have been like sitting at my desk working, and I'm like
Hmm.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and it's a secured building too, so I have to
We
like
gotta do
so
this.
well it's not even in the bath. Like I just go sit in the front of the building with my phone and try to like do, and I would like pop into Discord as I'm doing things, but and I'm just like ignoring my job to
Yeah.
like to be able to do like my raids and my TBs and my GACs and all this stuff. So I was like 100%. I was like, I don't have any time to do anything other than
Any
like,
bandwidth for that?
yeah. So I like pre-recorded 2 videos and released them, and then and that was it. And didn't honestly I in the middle of the night, like because I my sleep schedule's reversed. I would wake up and I was like, okay, well, it's like the middle of the day, and I did my GAC at that point, like
Hmm.
real dead tired, just like laying there, and I'm like, okay, I know I can't sleep for another like hour or so, so I like did my GAC and then just like went back to sleep. So
Yeah.
honestly, it's so bad. I hate it. I hate every moment of it. I'm like just miserable, but just one more week and then
Almost there. You're
yeah.
almost through it.
All right, but thanks for joining me. It was a pleasure. Always fun doing these things with you.
No.
Yeah, summer loving, having a blast.
I love, we don't, because of the time zone, we don't get a lot of time to do
Mhm.
this stuff, but when we can, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. All right, well, thanks everyone. Don't forget to, if you haven't already, subscribed to Egnards and I. Join our Discord, hang out. It's a great. Honestly, the Discord is an amazing community. An amazing community.
It
It's
really is.
growing.
It's
Yeah,
grown.
yeah, and it's not just like my viewers, your viewers. It's like it's a lot of different people doing a lot
There's
of
people
different
that don't
things.
watch any of us.
Yeah,
They just like there's resources there for them that are helpful to them.
yeah, or like read Kazgul stuff or whatever. I've seen
Or,
some
yeah,
Kazgul lovers,
some
and
stands, some
yeah,
casual stands.
yeah. So or just whoever just join. So yeah, jump in, say hi. It's a great time. Other than that, take care, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Peace out.